one of the things I struggled with the most in the Big Ten was where to rate the Ohio State quarterback situation, because as a situation, it's a great situation. But when I'm listening to a betting podcast 2 weeks ago and Bobby Carpenter comes on, Ohio State great, and he says, hey, I went to 12 or 13 of Ohio State's 16 spring practices, and I didn't think there was much difference at all between Julian Sayin and a guy that's been kind of languishing in the program for 3 years. So, I that has to account for something, and then, I have to ask myself a question. For example, I think there's 136 teams now in Division I, Mark? I think that's the number.
Yes.
Okay. I think all 136, including your coach, would trade Bryce Underwood for Julian Sayin. All 136. And I don't think that's anything negative against Julian Sayin. I mean, listen, we just lost Dave Parker, one of the great players in Pittsburgh Pirate history, right? Okay. All-time, great player, all-time great player in the franchise history, perennial all-star caliber player. Roberto Clemente or Dave Parker, who you taking, Mark? And what do you think every other team Major League Baseball is taking?
Absolutely.
That's my point. So that's not meant to be a knock on either Lincoln Kreinholtz or Julian Sayin. It's just, I think Michigan signed the Trevor Lawrence, Matt Stafford level quarterback recruit of the last few cycles. And I think that would just be reflective of that. That being said, we're arguing over who's the 10th or 9th best quarterback in the league, so it's really kind of an irrelevant argument. And then here's the other thing I have to figure out too in my power ratings: how much of the advantage that a team has is because of personnel or because how I rate the depth and the coaching. You see what I'm saying? And so I got to kind of weigh that too, because that's not just a 1-to-1, but there'll be some differences and distinctions when the schedules get factored in, when the preview comes out here in a couple days.
So Steve, despite what you just framed between Bryce Underwood and Julian Sayin, and Michigan also having a large experience advantage on the bench with Mikey Keene, and now not that you want to see Jake Garcia against anybody meaningful minutes. No, you don't want to see that, but he does have experience. It's only a one spot difference, so you stayed very close to your metric.
Yeah, and then how much do you factor in the backup quarterback situation?
Yes,
and again, what you're looking for is if am I several points off, right? If I'm several points off, then I go back and do a reevaluation. And then I look at all these and I say, hey, if I'm on shows like Mark Rogers and he asked me to defend this, can I defend it? We're all doing some level of projection and opinion. And so there's going to be some subjectivity here for sure. All right. And I think that what you're trying to do is get within a range that you're within range of having the most accurate assessment of where these teams are heading into the year as you possibly can.
We've gotten to a place in modern football, especially in the NFL, and you can correct me if you get a different perspective, Steve, on the running back position, that it's just kind of like, it's nice to have a great one, but if you don't have a great one, you just need the line in the passing game, and the running backs are kind of interchangeable. They're all fast. They should be decent to some extent. But I think you really hit on the downgrade at Ohio State at the running back position. I'm concerned about the running back position not being anything close to what it was with Judkins and Henderson. On the flip side, you've got Michigan ranked number 2. And what I saw out of Jordan Marshall against Alabama and those NFL defenders, it wasn't like he was given gaping holes all day, like he could just run. Man, he showed to be a powerful runner in the fourth quarter as a true freshman.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I think he broke something like a dozen or 15 tackles. PFF had him down for in the game against Alabama. And remember, Jahad Campbell, that entire Alabama defense played in that game against Jordan Marshall. The thing about running back, and as a Lions fan, and with what the Lions did a couple of years ago in the draft, taking Jahmyr Gibbs about 10, 15 spots higher than anybody had him projected at the time. So I've kind of heard this debate about this position a lot. And I think for the most part, if Ohio State's baseline passing game is what it typically is, and again, I have the running backs here rated 13th. That's not terrible, So that's fine. That's fine. If the baseline of the passing game is the same, it becomes a factor. And when I say baseline, it doesn't mean Julian Sayin has to be Dwayne Haskins, CJ Stroud, maybe not even Will Howard last year. He just can't be a significant drop off so that teams can scheme Jeremiah Smith out of a game unless you guys are running some kind of like, gadget plays and stuff just to contrive ways to get him the football. You know what I'm saying? Okay. As long as that's intact, then your running backs are fine. What I think you're seeing in the NFL is when you have Jahmyr Gibbs, when you have Saquon Barkley, when you have that player, all right, then you throw positional value out because you're dealing with a great player. All right. And you're going to see more of this in college football now with revenue sharing. And I mean, Michigan literally went out and got an assistant GM from the NFL and Sean McGee and is running a salary cap NFL kind of positional value system. And now they're making an exception for Savion Hyder in the recruiting class. There's some other running backs they could have gotten. They've not gotten because they did not think, they thought, frankly, we're Michigan. We can take the 26th running back and make him Hassan Haskins if we need to. All right. So they didn't think they were worth paying, and those guys went other places. Savion Hyder, they think, is that level of talent. And so his greatness exceeds the positional value. And so I think for much of the Big Ten, it doesn't really matter where you're ranked in this category, because at this level, almost every team's going to have some running back that would be a factor in another team's depth chart at number 2 or number 3 if they were at almost any other school in our league, except for the unique situation Penn State has with Katron Allen and Nicholas Singleton both coming back, okay? That all notwithstanding, though, if you have that one difference maker player, then positional value is out the window. I don't think Ohio State has that player. I think it's possible Michigan may have that in Justice Haynes, in that he provides the player that after Jordan Marshall has meat tenderized you for 3 quarters, just comes in, increases you, and closes a game out. Okay. We'll see, but that's his reputation. We'll see. But I did not see a lot of, outside of Penn State. I mean, if you wanted to tell me that you had Michigan's running back situation 14th, okay. You wanted to tell me you had Ohio State and Michigan's flipped, I'm okay with that.
And just to clarify, everyone, when Steve says 13th or 14th, he means flip that around 13 or 14 points. Obviously, he's given the most points to the best. Yeah. So it's really like 4th or 5th best in the Big Ten. Catch Steve's work at Michigan Podcast. It's right here, easy to find on YouTube, Michigan Podcast. As Steve had just mentioned a couple minutes ago, ready to get rolling with the Michigan Podcast and also the Bigger 10 starting next week.